Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Tracy Blake Salami. I make motherhood, lifestyle, and beauty videos here on YouTube. And today I'm doing something spontaneous and having a mom staycation in the town where I live so I can get some sleep. So you guys just follow along on this little trip. And yeah, I want to see how I do. Okay guys, so I just checked into the hotel and sure enough I have a crappy room, but I really don't care because I didn't come in for a view. It feels like heaven in this bed, and I wish my husband could join me. Like, I wish we could just like run away without the kids. This is what happens when you get married. Like, you can't, at least for me, it's hard for me to do stuff dolo. Not because I can't or I don't want to. I do, but I enjoy my husband. I love my husband, and I just wish he were here. But until next time we're together, I'm just going to enjoy myself doing absolutely nothing. Once. I've been trying to do this for like a year, so let me enjoy myself. So I think I'm going to get up now. Look at my eyebrows. Wow. I think I'm going to get up and go to Target. Target is like across the street. The mall is across the street. So I'm in Target, and how cute are these mugs? They say mom fuel. How appropriate. I'm having a mom fuel day. Okay, so that humidity is no joke. I got like 3 bags of stuff. I got this dress, which I will wear on my way home. We have a view of the Empire State Building. That's about it. Okay guys, I'm laying in the bed and I must admit that I really miss my husband. This hotel room in particular, it just reminds me of our wedding week, because I stayed in a hotel that was similar to this leading up to our wedding day, and I had so much stuff in it. Just different things that we needed for random reasons at random events for the wedding weekend itself. And just reminds me of my husband. I really miss our time before we had children. I miss it a lot. We were so extremely close and in tune with each other's needs and wants and desires. And when we had children, everything shifted to them. And I hate that. I hate that the focus is not always on us and it's on the children, because as husband and wife, we need not to forget about one another, and I'm guilty of that. Husbands should be number one. Wives should be number one. But when you have small children, 2 children under 2, who are solely dependent on you, it's very easy to let things slip. It's very easy for the children to almost become the priority because they're so helpless and they're so small. And from feeding to diapers to bathing, pretty much every aspect of their life, they need you. And at the same time, we have to remember that we need each other as well. And I know my husband needs me just as much as I need him. So for the little bit of time that I've had, I checked in at 3:30, 4 o'clock, and it's 10. Even though I had to switch rooms and all of that, so I lost a little bit of time. In this small amount of time, I realized just how much I missed one of my dearest human beings on the planet, my husband. And I can't wait to get home. So this is how I'm spending my time where I'm supposed to be resting and sleeping. I'm thinking about my children. I'm thinking about my husband. But the truth is that if I was at home, I wouldn't have this time to think. It's always mommy, 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 or crying, or diapers, or from this baby to that baby, to cleaning up something, to wiping down something. It never stops. I never stop. And so for once, I have a chance to stop and think and let things process. And I'm grateful for this moment. I don't regret it, but it just has made me really miss my husband. I just want to welcome each and every new subscriber that I have on my channel. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I know you guys, a lot of you have found my channel as a result of a video I recently posted about Black Americans marrying Nigerians. This week, I hope to follow up on a lot of things that were brought into the conversation in the comment section from a lot of people who watched that video. But I also want to take a little bit of time to tell you who I am, why I created this channel, and what you could expect to receive in the form of content from this channel. So thank you all for tuning in, and watch it until the end because you never know what you're going to miss. Okay, so just so it's clear, right now I'm in a hotel room, and I have taken this day to take care of myself as a mom and a wife. Since the day I've given birth, I have not slept for more than 3 to 4 hours in a stretch of time, and I am absolutely exhausted. My son is completely different from my daughter. Iwa, once you gave her her last feeding bottle, she was out until maybe 6:30 the next morning. Io wakes every 2 to 3 hours in the night. And I have a lot of stuff going on that will make sense to you in a few weeks. But for now, I will just say that I am not doing well with my mental health. Physically, I'm not feeling well, and I'm absolutely exhausted. So tonight, I'm in a hotel room in the city where I live. I'm literally about 15 minutes away from my house, but I just wanted to take some time out for myself to try, even with just one night, to recharge. But as a human being, I can't do anything but think. And it's good to think. And so right now I'm thinking about my family, I'm thinking about my husband, and you've seen a little bit of the vlogging, so you know like what I've been up to and what I've been thinking about. But there have been a lot of questions about who I am and my background, my husband's background, and just some very basic and fundamental questions people have about my channel. And so I hope to answer all of your questions with that today. First of all, again, I am Tracy Blake Salami. I married into a large Nigerian family in 2016. My husband is Yoruba, and I believe his family is originally from Abeokuta, but they moved to Lagos, and they've lived in Lagos for a very long time. He has many brothers and sisters, and so I really just moved into a really large family. And I do have a wedding video. It's posted on this channel. I have a ton of videos that talk about how we met, how we became engaged, his proposal, our wedding process. Like, there's a lot of stuff. If you go back and look at some of the videos on this channel, you'll learn a little bit about us. But to summarize some of that, my husband's name is Lekon, and he's been in the U.S. for many years now. And I met him about 5 years ago. And I mean, from the very beginning, we had a connection because I was a little different from the average American girl that he'd come across, in that I had been to Nigeria before. I understood some of the basics of the culture, and I could go and have like a serious argument with him about the history of the country, especially with politics. I knew a lot about the different tribes. I didn't speak the language, or I didn't know how to cook the food, but I definitely knew like textbook stuff. I knew some of the things that were customary in Nigeria because I had gone to Nigeria before. And how did I even start going to Nigeria? Well, I went to undergrad with friends who were from Nigeria, but there were a lot of other West Africans who were in my university. And I actually was roommates with a really sweet girl from Ghana who just had a baby boy named Elinam. And my sweet mate was from, well, her family is from Delta State, but she lives in GRA Ikeja. And, you know, they became like sisters to me. And as soon as I had an opportunity to travel, it took a while, but I eventually made my way to Nigeria, and I had an amazing experience. And I will probably do a video soon about my first trip to Nigeria, so you can see like everything that I experienced there in my first trip. But basically, I say all that to say my husband found me to be a little unique from other Americans he had come across because I'd been to Nigeria. I knew a little bit about his culture. I knew the politics and history, which he's really into politics. So if you could have like a real conversation with him and name names, like that was a big deal. So that's how we started to build our relationship. And it's been quite a journey. And I just want to give a shout out to one of my new subscribers, Innocent Mole. I don't know what your real name is, But in the comment section on that video about Black Americans being married to Nigerians, she or he left a message saying that she enjoyed the video, but she was looking for more information or perspective on anything regarding like my husband's family and what I thought about a number of things with Nigerian culture. Her first response was that she was looking for more feedback about my experience being married to my husband. And we're still together, we're still married, so clearly there's something that's working here, right? We have 2 beautiful children. We live in New Jersey. I work in the city, and we're thriving. There's a lot of goals that we have as husband and wife, and there are still things that we're flushing out with being married to each other that takes time. And a lot of that is cultural differences and things of that nature. But for the most part, I am absolutely like over the moon with my husband. I don't think that I made a mistake. I don't think that I could have chosen a better person. For all of my flaws, he is the perfect one for me. Where I have weaknesses, he has strengths, and vice versa. So I'm very happy with the man God has chosen for me. I also think that him being raised in a Nigerian family, it pretty much informs everything about him. He is such of a Lagosian. He is very much street savvy. When it comes to anything financial, anything with trying to haggle for prices and bargain, and dealing with anything when you're trying to buy or sell, like that's such a Lagos thing, right? People know how to haggle in the market to get what they want. They know how to reason. They can anticipate some of the things that people will say or think or do before they actually say, think, or do it. And that's my husband 100%. And Americans, we're a little different in that we just kind of go along with the flow. If you say the price is, I don't know, $15, it's $15. I'm not going to go back and forth with you. It's your market, right? No, my husband has taught me that there's always room for negotiation. So there's a lot of things about him that's so Nigerian, so like street, so much of the Lagos boy in him, or now I can say the Lagos man. So I feel like there's a lot of positive things that came along with him as a result of him being Yoruba, as a result of him being raised in Lagos, and as a result of him being Nigerian. So I think that I have just way too much to say. And my husband is a very private person. Like before we got serious, he had never changed his Facebook profile. And so he feels like with me now being on YouTube and posting pictures on social media, like I'm exposing him. Like he's just a very private person. And you'll see him, like in a lot of the YouTube videos, you'll see him and he'll make some snide remarks here and there. He'll crack some jokes, but he really doesn't want to be the center of attention. He likes he likes the fact that I'm doing the videos, but he doesn't want to be the focus of the videos. But he does watch all the videos, and he has something to say about the videos and what I'm doing and what I'm talking about. And I know that the video will be great when my husband tells me, oh my gosh, the Nigerians, they're going to blast you. That's what he says. They're going to blast you. So when I hear my husband say that Nigerians are going to come for me, that's when I know I have a good thought-provoking video, something possibly controversial that we can actually talk about and have some feedback on. I can get trolled on. And my goal is to not incite people, but to spark conversation. So you'll see a lot of thought-provoking videos in that way. So I do have a perspective on life in Nigeria. Innocent Mole wanted to know about what I thought about life in Nigeria. And if you can allow me, folks, I've only been in Lagos. I was told by the U.S. Embassy that if I left Lagos and traveled to someone's village or Abuja or somewhere in the north where Boko Haram was dropping bombs or, had suicide bombers killing, thousands of people, hundreds of people, that they would not come for me. So I didn't try it. I stayed in Lagos. So my perspective is limited to Lagos. So understand that. I honestly think life in Nigeria is hard. Very hard. Unless you're like balling and shot calling, you have like a white collar job and you live in your own home that you own, where you have electricity or a generator. Like, life is hard. Even if you have all those things, life is hard in Nigeria. I saw a lot of things in Nigeria that I dare not talk about on YouTube out of respect. One of the people who commented on that video talked about how impoverished Nigeria is, how there's a large percentage of illiteracy in the country, in that when I'm talking in the video about those elitist Nigerians, I'm really referring to the subset of Nigerians who are educated, who have come out from the poverty-stricken country that Nigeria is and have advanced degrees and are thriving and doing well, and in some ways doing far better than the average American. He brought up a lot of things that I think are valid and should be a part of our conversation. My husband's family, all of the children, everyone has a college degree. When I say everyone is college educated. Baba Salami made sure everybody went to school, full stop. And while that may be like a standard in Nigeria, a lot of people talked about that in the comment section. I saw a lot of stuff in Nigeria that was substandard. And I saw a lot of things that was completely unjust and horrific, that even to think about it now is so painful, that I witnessed something or I witnessed something happen and I didn't do anything. Because first of all, it's not my country. And in some ways, Nigeria can be a lawless country where people who have power or position or status get away with a lot. Just like here in America and other parts of the world, money talks. In the U.S., if you have bail money, you go home for a little while. And you probably never have to go back and face, whatever crimes you committed. And the same thing is true in Nigeria. There's a lot of things that happen, especially violence against women and girls, that I think is absolutely horrible. I remember like a couple months ago, there was a whole story about Justice for Hannah, which was a little girl who was allegedly molested by the landlady's son. And the things the family had to go through just to be heard. The process by which the police in Nigeria took this family through and scrutinized them. How allegedly a police officer actually performed some sort of, procedure, or for lack of a better word, some sort of investigative medical observation of the little girl's vaginal area to see if she was truly violated by this landlady's son. People who are not qualified to handle alleged rape is looking at a 5-year-old girl to see if she was violated. The recent story about a certain pastor who I will not name, who supposedly raped a girl when she was in her teen years. I mean, we have this stuff going on in the U.S. too. But we in America would like to think that we can hold people accountable. And that has not always been true. Thus, we have the Me Too movement. So now, only now, are the R. Kellys and Harvey Weinsteins and all these other folks who are really being scrutinized now are being acknowledged for the pedophiles that they are, the rapists that they are. Even the president of the United States has been accused of all sorts of acts that are in violation of women's private spaces. So I don't want to make it seem like it's a Nigeria issue, but when you compile that along with everything else that's going on in Nigeria, I just think it's so hard. And even with all that, I would still consider living in Nigeria. In my office, they allow us to take a sabbatical. And I've spoken to my husband before in the past about taking 1 year sabbatical. I would love to spend that year in Nigeria. What would I do? Well, there's NGOs that are affiliated with organizations in the U.S. that work on a lot of things that I work on in my office now, but it's stuff that's being done regarding property rights in Nigeria. There's so much that I could do or not do. I could really and truly take a year off. It will be an opportunity for my children to really be with some of the other people in their family, in our family. It's an opportunity for them to really be enmeshed in the culture and to learn Yoruba and to understand the country that they originated from. So I think that even with all that, I would consider living in Nigeria because I know that, unfortunately, I would have an advantage as compared to the average Nigerian, that I know I can go home. I know I can come back to the U.S. And it's sad that that's the story, but that is the story. I would consider going to allow my children to be raised for a period of time in the country so that they can understand what's what with their culture. But family life in general, Innocent Mole wanted to know about. The family life, I think, for the Yoruba culture is very beautiful in a lot of ways. I really do understand why things are the way they are. I sometimes question like gender roles and how men pretty much dominate everything regarding the family, and women consider it their duty to almost in some ways be subservient to different people in the family. I like greeting. I like the way that Nigerians demand that children or people who are younger respect elders. I think we do have elements of that in American culture, specifically within Black American culture, but it's something that is increasingly becoming like a lost custom. And a lot of people don't like to talk about it, but the average age of the Black grandmother in America is very young. It's, I mean, if you are comparing it to a lot of Nigerian families, the average Black grandmother in America is more along the lines of being middle-aged, or in Nigerian culture it would be like an older person who could possibly still have a child, and they're very much still in childbearing age. So it's just weird, even to Black Americans, to have grandmothers so young. But when things like that happen, you lose a little bit of the traditions, and you have children raising children. Some of that I understand happens in Nigeria as well, not as often, but it happens. So I feel that there's a lot of things that come with acknowledging authority, seniority, different roles in the family, and how we really respect people who are senior to us. I think it's important. And it was a lot of that I learned in my own family. But like I said, a lot of it we are losing. There are a lot of young people in America who really don't respect elders in the way that they should. Especially when you think about how children sometimes misbehave in public schools here in the U.S., the way they speak to their teachers or the administrators. Like, you just wouldn't do that back in Nigeria. And if you did, you would have to answer to your folks. Whereas in the U.S., I have a lot of friends who are teachers, and they tell me, you know, I have one friend in particular who was teaching third grade at the time, and she was going to have a parent-teacher conference with a parent about her son who had pants falling down, all this stuff going on. And the woman came in with some booty shorts herself, very short shorts, coming to school to have an important meeting with your child's teacher, and the way that she dressed herself was inappropriate. So my friend was like, how can I then address her about her son if she herself is coming to meet with me dressed in an inappropriate fashion? And sure enough, when my friend mentioned to her exactly what her son was doing that she thought was problematic, she said, well, that's the way my man dressed. That's the way my son is going to dress. And sure enough, your son, you, and your man, you all dress in a certain way that society has said is not okay. In addition to the way her son was dressed, he was also selling marijuana at school at 10 years old. 10. So there's a lot of things that I think are wrong that happens all over the world. And anytime you hear me talking about things that's happening in Nigeria, I'm only talking about the things that I know. I don't profess to be some sort of expert. I haven't been all over Nigeria. I've never been to the east. I've never been to Abuja. I've only been in Lagos. So that's the extent of the Nigeria that I know. I've been all over London. I've been to different parts of London that I know Nigerians are really flourishing and living and thriving. I've been to different parts of the U.S. like Houston and Atlanta and Maryland and New York, where I know Nigerians are thriving, but I have not been all over Lagos to say with any sort of proficiency what is what. But I can only talk about my experience, and that's what you'll get here on this channel. There's a lot of people who said that, oh, you said your daughter was half Nigerian. She's a whole Nigerian. What is a half? Well, what I meant was that since I was born and raised in the U.S., there's a certain part of her background that will be taught to her, because she needs to know that not only is her father Nigerian and was raised in Nigeria, but her mother is an American descendant of slaves. And that is an important part of her story. And the beauty of it all is that it comes full circle, that we are all Africans at the end of the day. But there's something special about a certain aspect to your background that I will not let her grow up without knowing. And then finally, I want to leave this. During our wedding ceremony, our pastor said something that choked me up a little bit. I was fine. I wasn't emotional during our wedding, but he said that our union was symbolic of African Americans, Black Americans, or however you want to self-identify. It was a symbolic way of saying that we're coming home, that everything is coming full circle. And that's what I love about our marriage, is that I know somehow I'm connected to the continent. I'm not sure how. I'm not doing ancestry DNA for a lot of reasons, which I can talk about on another video. But one thing I know for sure is that I'm a descendant of a slave who is somehow linked to the continent, and I am married back into that continent, and it's like I'm coming home. Okay, so now I'm just gonna call Uber to come pick me up, and I still literally have 2 hours to be in this hotel, but I can't help myself. I think I just want to go home and be with my kids. So I'm going to call Uber now and let these 2 hours go. Although I'm sure I will be wishing I had these 2 hours on another day. And I'm wearing the outfit that I wore yesterday. I bought a pretty dress, but I'm not going to wear it to go home. It's too cute to wear just to go home. I'm actually going to an event today, so maybe I'll wear it for that. But anyways, did I even show you all this space? I never even sat down out here. Let me see. Could have sat here last night. Anyway, here I am. How are you? Okay. Good morning.